All right. And I'm going to pass it over to Lisa to kick us off with some introductions.
Thanks so much, Laura, and welcome everybody. We're so excited to be here with you on our first Face Friday of the year. I'm Lisa Nielsen, Senior Director of Digital Literacy and Inclusion at DIIT. And Laura and I and Christina are and Latikwa, we're also just excited we're learning about Gamma, or I don't know if they're still calling it Gamma, but grades, attendance, and messaging as well. So we look forward to a really fun day with you. And I think I'll turn it over to Christina.
Thanks, Lisa. Hi, everyone. Happy Friday. I'm so happy to be back. The first one of the year. Can't even be more excited. Y'all know me, Christina Batz's EdTech program. Excited to support y'all this year. And yeah, for the presentation today with grades and attendance, kicking it back to Laura.
Thank you. Thank you. And I always got to shout her out. She's on the back end, but she makes it happen. All the magic, taking care of attendance, making sure you get your CTLE. So thank you to Latikwa. Again, she does so much behind the scenes, but you know, it's always the people behind the scenes you got to thank the most. So thank you for helping us make the magic happen. All right, so I'm gonna actually turn it back over to Christina because we have a really great format for office hours. I actually think it's even better this year, even more supportive. So Christina, please take it away and tell us more about what we're doing this year.
Thanks, Laura. So we are changing things up a little bit because DIIT is changing things up a little bit or a lot of it. So when we were talking about revisiting Coffee Talk and doing the office hour, it actually came up that DIIT essentially is doing weekly office hours on Wednesdays, and that is on the EdTech portal. So if you go to diit.nyc/edtech portal, you will be able to register for these office hours that are happening weekly. Now, again, these aren't specifically catered for parent coordinators. It's everyone throughout the city that has any technical questions. And if we go back to the technical questions that usually came up, they were relevant for not just parent coordinators, but for anyone that really had a technology role. So we do encourage your participation and attendance. Again, those are happening weekly. So you actually get more consistent and frequent support. And those do happen on Wednesdays. I believe the time is from 11 to 1 within that block. So please just make sure that you go and register. Again, as long as you register in advance, you will get that calendar invitation in the email and you'll be able to attend. If you have any questions, ping me privately here, or y'all know me, you could ping me on Teams or email me anytime. And with that, we'll always remind you, kicking it back to Laura, to continue our regularly scheduled programming.
Thank you so much, Christina. And I have to say, I went to office hours this week and it was really nice. I mean, you know, you'll also get to know our BTD team. They're phenomenal. They're so supportive. And, you know, sometimes it's just a really like simple question. You're like, I just don't know how to do this. They're there to help you. So please take advantage of this. It's a great way to just get, you know, extra support. So I wanted to show off our cool video. Again, let's see if my audio works. I fight with it every single time. So 1 second here. Hello, my name is Laura Oganto.
I lost audio, I think.
Yeah, I lost audio.
Sorry. You sounded great. We heard you say your name. You said it correctly.
Oh, thanks. This is my life right now. It is fighting with my audio. Hold on. Maybe if we do this. You guys will tell me if it doesn't work again. I'm right. Hello, my name is Laura Ogando, and I'm the program manager for the Office of Digital Literacy and Inclusion. And I'm so excited to talk a little bit about our family engagement digital learning opportunities. Brought to staff as a result of a collaboration between the Division of Instructional and Information Technology, DIT, and the Office of Family and Community Empowerment, FACE.
Hello, my name is Debbie Rodriguez, and I work for the Office of Family Community Empowerment, FACE. When the pandemic in New York City in March 2020, family-facing staff were forced to rethink just about every aspect of their work. But with the help of the IIT, we came together to strategically plan programs where family-facing staff came together to learn new digital tools and learn about effective communication. Together, we have built a new digital community larger than anything we did in person, where we foster positive partnerships, effective family communications, and develop stronger home-school connections.
The first program we are excited to introduce is our Digital Friyay. This is where we bring in different EdTech partners and educational leaders over Zoom to come in to teach about ways to leverage new technology. We involve many offices, educators from around the DOE, and even community-based organizations. This learning opportunity truly represents cross-divisional collaboration.
Digital Friday make me feel great and eager to learn new things. I like all the excitement that Debbie would do, Laura would do, all the excitement that will get us pumped up to learn something new to help us engage with our families. I really like Digital Fridays because they allow us to form a community of parent coordinators, FLCs, FFCs. Everyone is there sharing their story about how they're dedicated to serving their family.
My name is Dr. Christina Vasquez, and I work on the EdTech program at DIIT. Coming off the success of Fridays, we wanted to provide a space for parent coordinators to ask their technical questions. So we created an office hour called Coffee, Tea, or Tech Talk Tuesdays.
Throughout these different sessions, we've been able to recruit many parent coordinators to provide insights on different focus groups, such as the development of NICSA, the New York State Schools account, as well as different other enterprise-grade products. Because we know at the end of the day, that everything that we're doing within DIIT is to help support schools, help them drive innovation, and to make it so that they can spend more time doing what's truly important, which is educating our students.
By using Coffee Talk, we were able to train our family-facing employees, such as our parent coordinators, who were then able to better assist our families and parents of students.
Coffee Talk Tea on Tuesday, it is a venue for us to socialize, to build a community with parent coordinators. This is the first time that we have done this in recognition to the help during the pandemic. Coffee Talk Tech Tuesdays, I mean, what else would you do? It's a place to be. Bring your coffee. We just have a good time and we just talk about technology and what's going on within the DOE or with updates. It's a place for us to just come together and to share best practices.
The partnership that DIIT teams have with the Family Engagement Office has been so fruitful and so collaborative that we're so excited to potentially continue this work moving forward into the next weeks.
So if you're watching this video, share it out to your colleagues, share it with someone who needs this support. Have them join our community because this work isn't stopping, right? We've got to continue to reach all of our schools, we've got to reach all of our students, and by extension, all of our families. So reach out at biit.nyc/PC community.
Right. So I hope you enjoyed always fighting with the audio. All right. I hope you enjoyed that video. Featured some of our special guests here. Thank you to Cheryl. Thank you to Raquel and to David. You're going to hear more from Zach later, who was in the video. Francisco, who was also there as one of our BTDs out in Queens. So, we just want to thank you all for a fabulous partnership. We love that we get to support so many of you in doing this work and meeting the needs of your community. That's what this is about. So I'm so happy. And yeah, I'm so glad that people are loving that video. It was a labor of love, I will tell you. We went through several drafts over the summer, but I think it's in a good place. And thank you again to our community that helped us make that video. Thank you to Cheryl, thank you to Raquel, thank you to David. They came to DIIT, we spoke with them, and they just they really embody why this work is so important. All right, oh, hold on, here we go. And then I want to shout her out again in case you didn't know, because we did have our wonderful tech summit back in August, and we honored our own Cheryl Leverett with an NYC Schools Tech Award. So I just want to say congrats again, Cheryl. It is a huge accomplishment. You know, it is just, again, a testament to how much work you've done. You've taken what we've been teaching here and used it at your school.
So that it kind of doesn't give away, so it doesn't give away that we.
I'm going to remind folks, keep your mics muted. It's okay. I know we're all in schools, we're working, it's loud.
Green Park. Oh, all right.
Hold on here. Gonna have to like do the mute all situation.
We're on it, Laura.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And then one other announcement. We have our next virtual PD opportunity happening this election day, November 8th, 2022. It is our Beyond Access Forum. We've been putting this on now for several years, and it just keeps growing, okay? I think when this first started, it was a very small, it was actually in person, very small, kind of like 500 to 600 person kind of production. Last year, folks, 14,000 people logged in for this PD. All right, so it is phenomenal. We'll drop the link in the chat, but it is you can register at diit.nyc/forum. We've got something for everybody. So this is not just for parent coordinators, not just for teachers. It's literally for everybody. And again, because we keep expanding, we have so many offices that are involved. We've got library services, the Office of Student and Specialized Instruction, multilingual language learners, us here at DIIT, several of our teams are involved. I think we even just got the Office of Wellness and Climate and Culture. I don't know. There's so many things happening name change wise, but we have so many offices that are involved. And like I said, that means that there's something for everybody. We really, we want to brand this conference as really thinking beyond what accessibility means. It's not just one thing. It's not just digital accessibility. It's not just language access. It's all of that and more. So again, it's a great day, tons of classes, get your CTLE. So you all should register, but please pass this along to your school communities. You know, if you have like some sort of internal like email that you send out, like an end of the week wrap up to your school, like definitely send this to them. This is for employees. So this is not to send to your families. It's more of a PD for employees. But like I said, please share this out at your school. All right, so it's time for some polls. You know how we do. So let me launch our polls. Want to know who is in our Zoom room. So you should see that poll pop up on your screen. I anticipate we got a ton of PCs because I know you all represent, but remember, we've got a whole bunch of other titles that you could pick from. We have our family support coordinators, family leadership coordinators. I already see we got a school secretary in the house. Woo -woo. Teachers, if you're a principal or an assistant principal, and if you happen to be other, you already know, put it in the chat. We're nosy. We want to know what you're doing. Where are you coming from? What you doing here? And welcome. And I'll do you one more. If this is your first Faith Friday, I want you to put it in the chat. Let us know this is your very first one because we want to do a very special welcome for all of you. I know when I sent out the calendar invite, what was it, yesterday? I got a lot of people going, what is this? Like, I'm very suspicious of this meeting. Like, you're gonna want to come. It's cool, I promise. And I see, and I love it. It's already happening. I shouted her out before we started, but I'm gonna shout her out again because she's here and I'm so excited. Mary Seamack, who is my former parent coordinator from my old school. She is here for the very first time, only took 2 years. Excited. She was a phenomenal partner in a lot of the work we did. And again, folks, just little reminder, keep yourselves muted. I know we're all in noisy schools. I get it. I'm right now being that noisy person in the office. So I apologize to my colleagues who are on meetings. All right, that's me today. All right, and welcome to all first timers. I'm so excited for all of you. You're in for a treat. You're probably a little freaked out. You're like, what is this? I promise you, we make the learning fun. That's what this is about. No boring PD. We don't do that. All right, I'm gonna end this poll because we got one more, okay? And I did this one a little differently. So let's see if it shows up. Okay. I don't know how it looks on your end, but Zoom got fancy and apparently you can add an image. So I don't know what this image looks like on your end, but I did something. I don't know. Hopefully a lot of you are feeling in the happy category, but look, all feelings are valid. It's been another interesting start to the school year, right? I feel like that's always the euphemism, right? When you work in the DOE, like it's really interesting. But look, again, you made it. It's Friday. You made it through September. And we have that like really beautiful crisp fall weather. I don't know how other people feel, but I'm all about the fall weather. I think I just got the notice that my AirPods have died. Ian, like I said, all the technical issues with my sound today. It's not the first Friday without a little like audio difficulty, right? Am I right? Come on. But this is what we do. Remember, we power through when things don't work. The tech is always going to somewhat fail you, right? Especially at the most inopportune time. That is not a reason to like give up. It's a reason to persevere. So I'm gonna make it work. I'm really shouting. All right, I'm gonna give us 2 more seconds and then I'm gonna end it. And hold on, let me share these results with you because it looks like we're all kind of in that like happy tired phase, right? Which I get because it's like 2 months crammed into one. Let's face it, that's what the start of the school year is always like. But again, I think we're all happy because we're here in the room and we get to hang out and learn. So let me stop sharing this and a couple more quick announcements because we have some learning to do, but wanted to just kind of give you a lay of the land for the next couple of sessions. So on October 21st, that'll be our next Face Friday. We're going to have Wendy Lopez come back. You know her if you've been here before. She's from Learning Heroes, and she has a really nice presentation put together about how to get ready for those parent-teacher conferences. She's got a whole toolkit set up, really great as we head into November when we know schools will begin the parent-teacher conferences. On November 18th, we have our folks from Adobe coming, and they're going to do a wonderful session about how to get started with Adobe. Remember, at the DOE, we purchased Adobe. It is now an enterprise software. So that means everybody has access to it. In fact, you have access to it today. But they're going to come in on November 18th. They'll show us what we do to make sure that our families know how to use it. All right. And then before we head out to winter break, December 20th, we're going to have the folks from Microsoft come. And you already know Microsoft leads the way when it comes to accessibility. So they're going to be sharing all the latest tools for accessibility and for language access. And I know that was something very popular last year, using some of those translation tools so that you can better disseminate information to your families. But without further ado, all right, and of course, you got to do a Schitt's Creek reference. Come on. It is time to learn. IET folks, Zach and team. Again, just another reminder to folks, as you come in, please keep yourselves muted so that we can make the most of today's session. But thanks again to Zach and Michael. All yours.
Good morning. Sorry, was that too much? I think it might have been a drop too much, but y'all are so energized.
No such thing as too much, Zach. Are you kidding?
No, I saw how quickly you were filling out those surveys. I was like, I couldn't even read the question and there was 100 responses. Like, come on. Can you like slow down a little bit for me? Make me like look better? Come on. So sorry. Kudos to all of you for being amazing. It should not be anything surprising to you that we think so highly of all of you. For those who don't know me, my name is Zach Dane. I've been in all of your meetings since the last year, I think. And they are awesome. You all always ask the best questions. Don't tell that to anyone else though, because they'll get mad at me for saying that. I know it's recorded, but could be worse. With that, I'm sorry. I have a minor cold. It is not COVID. It's not anything crazy, but just in case you see me go off mute for a moment, I'm blowing my nose. That is, unless you want to hear that, but I don't think you do. So with that, we're going to provide a quick overview of the DOE grades, attendance, and messaging systems that you all have different levels of access to, and we will be providing links to all of this information in the chat at the very end. we just know that since you were all amazing and answered those survey questions within like 2 milliseconds, we just want to make sure that you all have the opportunity to kind of see what we're saying. And then from there, we will gladly answer any and all questions. Our overall like presentation, so to speak, is going to take us like 15-20 minutes at most. And from there, our goal is to give you as much time for questions and answers as we possibly can provide, or until Laura, Christina, Lisa, and the rest of the team tell me to stop. So yeah, with that being said, who we are. My name is Zach Dane. I'm a Deputy Director of Instructional Enterprise Technology. I'm joined by my colleague, Mike Edwards. Mike, you're here somewhere. I just don't see your face, but I know you're here.
I'm here.
Perfect.
Hey, everybody.
So the two of us are members of the Instructional Enterprise Technology team. And if you have any questions at any time, you can email us at the email address on our chalkboards behind us. It's iet@schools.nyc.gov. I know it's weird to send an email to a generic account, but we do our best to respond to every inquiry we get, whether it's a crazy question with like 400 pages of questions. Please don't send those. It takes a long time to respond. Or a quick little question. We do our best to respond to them within 1 business day, which I know for a generic account is like weird, but we genuinely try our best to respond within 1 business day. So if you email us at 9 o'clock at night tonight, give us until Monday to respond. We do our best to respond. Even on the weekends, sometimes we do, but we all need some time to breathe. So just want to give you that full transparency before we dive in. But our team, Zach, that's me, Mike and I, as well as the rest of our team, is responsible for supporting the enterprise grade. So anything that's citywide that is instructionally focused. So the DOE grades in attendance, Google, DocuSign, GoGuardian, Teacher, Pear Deck, Newsella, we support Adobe, all those different things that are citywide that the DOE is paid for using your DOE account. Our team manages the day-to-day operations of it and the planning of it and the implementation of it. So if you have any issues, you can always reach out to us. That email address has been shared with your principals, your APs, your SPOCs. You can share it with anyone you want. We do just request you don't share it with families, just because there's only so much we can do without having the school involved in the conversation. It just makes life a little bit easier. So with that being said, we're going to do a dive into the overview. This is just an overview of us. You can see how to contact us. So our plan for today is kind of talk about the background of why this is being built, discuss the training plan that we've provided, an overview of the tools, the roadmaps, maybe a demo, but I feel like I've seen many of your names before with demos, and then a Q&A at the very end. So for full transparency, we were planning on building a DOE grades attendance and messaging system for over 1.5 years. However, we were planning on having it built and ready to go for September 2023. So next school year. But as you may know, one of our large third-party providers had a data breach. And because of that, our timeline got ripped. It got destroyed. We had to cut it short by over 16 months. So before we even go into any of the information, we are going to admit there are some things that may not be perfect yet or have the full functionality of what schools may need to be successful with these tools. But keep that in mind as we're working through these things. We do have a functional system that does connect directly to STARS and ATS and does provide the basic level of support and services that schools need, with a lot more enhancements coming between October, November, and beyond.
On cleaning the bathrooms.
With that, we've spoken to over 500 schools in the development phase.
So your lady has to,
Okay. So we've spoken to over 500 schools and had over 270 different testers, and people provide feedback of what the experience actually looks like before we even began to showcase the functionality. So a lot of the tools we have provided have been vetted by principals, APs, SPOCs, superintendents, people from FACE, people from every division within the DOE you could possibly think of. We work to get feedback from them. But at the end of the day, our primary focus was providing a functional system for people within schools. So I'm going to turn over to Mike for a moment. Sorry, Mike.
You got it. Okay. Basically, this system is so that schools can use at no cost. When we designed this, the whole point of this was to have a safer, efficient, equitable, cost-effective, easy to use, integrated with all the different systems we have up, family-friendly system that we can use in real time. We really did work through and deal with a lot of different teachers, administrators, people who are actually in classes to ask them what they really wanted so we can get this to work the way they needed to. Now, we have it set up through TeachHub, so it's a centrally located area. It'll integrates with all of our LMS tools, whether we are using Google Classroom or LMI Admin, which is basically iLearn or D2L. And also allows us to see student data, attendance data, also allows us to submit attendance data directly through, instead of, it's like a digital bubble sheet. And hopefully soon, actually coming up in the next couple of weeks, the ability for parents to see them through the Nixa platform and students to see them through TeachHub as well. So we really have made this setup really secure and give us a lot of functionality. And the best, it's really no cost because we're making it in-house. So we really done a lot to really try to really have this be as efficient as possible, work directly and support. And actually, you can actually enter attendance in real time right into ATS. You can enter your grades as a teacher directly into STARS with a touch of a button. So it really gives a really nice integration into all of our systems as easy to use as possible. Next slide, Zach. The first of the three, and actually I'm going to turn this over to Zach in a second, but the first of the three tools is DOE Grades. Basically, DOE Grades is an integrated tool for assignment level grading. It automatically imports the rosters and course information right from STARS. So once all the work is done from your school, setting up the information, all the information about the teachers, the students, the courses, and so on, that's imported directly. It allows you to create assignments. Those assignments can be created directly within the system, or can be pulled from the LMS systems, iLearn or Google Classroom. It'll collect grades from those systems, from the LMS systems, or you can enter those grades yourself. It allows you to create course categories and scales, so you can auto-calculate term grades. And through the system setup, you can actually send term grades directly to STARS with the ability to, with one click. It's a really great system. Zach, anything else you want to mention for this?
Just that everything is directly tied to academic policy. So if there's something that's not there, it might be tied to something that was done through academic policy, but we are working to incorporate as many features as we can from other third-party tools that schools know and love.
On the next slide, you'll see a roadmap of a lot of the things that we've worked on and how they're being released over the course of the next upcoming months. Like Zach said earlier, this is a 18-month project that we worked on with teachers and students, with teachers and administrators. And not every feature has been released in the beginning, at the first during the first release. So we've this is something I'm going to put on later on at the end. We'll show you the exact links you can get to these. But we have a lot of things we put out initially. We wanted the basic core functionality to be done first, and over time we've been actually releasing little by little other additional features to make the system more user friendly and do a little bit more as far as reports and dashboards to give administrators and other people within the school access to those systems. Additionally, if you notice in the middle, in the winter, we're going to be having a listening tour. Sometime between December and February, we're going to get together with all the people who are using the system and give them a chance to view their opinions upon what they liked and what they wish would be coming out within the system. During that time, it'll give us a chance to help inform our future releases and what needs to be worked on within our development team. Also, one of the examples of things we've released recently, you'll see that says on the bottom here, a pending review, export grade data. During our pilot, we found out that's a really important feature. That's now available within our system. So we really do listen to all the different features and feedback we get from users and try to make those really important features active as soon as possible. Next slide is attendance, and then I'll turn it over to Zach a little bit.
So with attendance, this is a digital attendance application. The same exact functionality that exists on a printed bubble sheet exists within this application. So technically, on a printed bubble sheet, legally speaking, only the primary teacher of that course should be filling out the attendance. I admit, and don't fire me, please, when I was a special ed teacher in the classroom, so last year, I would take attendance and have someone else, like I would take the attendance and have my co-teacher sign it, because that was just the way we did things. So we've heard that request, and that's a DOE policy. So because of that, what we've done, and we know co-teachers, they are people too. I know that's really weird to say, but like in the DOE, a lot of systems don't respect co-teachers and primary teachers in the same way. So we're working on fixing that. So co-teachers will be able to have access to digital attendance beginning November 15th, as well as providing substitute teacher access. With that being said, the DOE attendance is a supplement to the printed attendance sheet. It is not necessarily a replacement unless your school wants to use it as a replacement. It can perform that information, and it's really cool because within a second or two of you submitting the information, it will go directly into ATS and your attendance will be updated in real time. So that's a really cool functionality. In terms of additional features coming out, there's going to be some cutting reports and administrative reports that are becoming soon, because we do know that there's a lot of things that teachers need to be able to see and admin needs to see in real time. For school administrators and anyone with ATS access, they are able to access that information in ATS and through the data hub in real time. So when they hit submit for attendance, it shows up within like 2 seconds. And the reason I say like 2 seconds is because that was the fastest we were able to test. We pushed the button, someone heard the button was pushed, went into ATS, clicked enter for the report, and it showed up updated already. So that is a super cool feature. In addition, Anna, you're beating me to my next question. Come on. I told you, you're all on top of your game. So in terms of some additional functionality, direct communication to families when a student is calling out, like when a student's absent from a class or for the day. So those automated messages are coming soon through the DOE messaging application as well. So if you mark a student as absent, their parent can be notified pretty quickly. So the attendance application does provide a lot of similar features that you may know and love, and will be provided with additional resources in the future. So in the next few seconds, I'm going to turn over to Mike to talk about messaging, but he's answering some questions in the chat. So I'm just trying to give him a moment to process. And now I think he's covered. So I'm going to transition to messaging, and Mike.
DOE messaging. A lot of times, this basically is a single messaging center that we've created that allows you to send schools and central offices to send communications to families, students, and staff. Here you have 3 different options. You can send 3 different communication methods. I can send out emails, SMS texts, or robocalls. There are certain limitations for students as far as sending out SMS texts just for safety and security reasons, but you still can send out emails and robocalls for everybody. We are going to be providing stock messages with customization capabilities. In the future, we're going to be allowing other attachments and things of that nature. It allows for messages in multiple languages. We do allow for up to 9 different languages to be utilized. And you can actually, you will have to translate them initially, but we are working with the ability to have them auto-translated in future releases. You can automatically pull contact information directly from NICSA or ATS. NICSA does allow parents the ability to change their information to update it appropriately, but that data was taken from ATS and NICSA to send out both for phone and for SMS and for their emails. It offers a reporting functionality, and it's also available on mobile phone, tablet, and computer. So this is a really great system that you can go ahead and send out information. Right now, it's only done for mass communications, meaning for the entire school, class, so like the 9th graders. Teachers can actually send out to their individual classes, or you can send out to individual, so all your classes are just individual classes. The ability to be a little bit more specific to create groups is a functionality we're working on later. And if you go to the next slide, Zach, you'll see what our list of things that we're doing on our roadmap. One of those things is to be able to display assignments and grades in NICSA, things also like custom distribution lists. As of right now, the messaging system is just for mass communications. It doesn't really allow you to do any more targeting of small groups and things of that nature, but it's something we're working on. Right now, it's a 1-way messaging system. It will allow for 2-way messaging in the future. We'll have more robust reporting and, like I said before, the ability to auto-translate. The languages that you can translate into currently are the 9 normal languages that we allow for translation throughout the DOE. Next. How we access. To access this, you have to go to TeachHub. TeachHub now, for all of the DOE, if you're a staff member, has MFA installed, meaning you have to have your multi-factor authentication set up and active to utilize. If you go to the Home tab or the Home section, which is the very first tab within TeachHub, you will find a section at the top called DOE Class Hub. You will see the following 3 icons. You'll pick the appropriate icon, depending upon which one you have to access, which one you wish to go into. And depending upon your role in Galaxy, you may or may not have access to them. Some, if you're not teaching a class and you're not an administrator, well, later on, we'll give you like a link to where you can find information on who has access to all of these systems. But you will go in and you'll be able to sign in with your DOE credentials and be able to utilize that system. Access is based on your roles within Galaxy and how you are set up. And we only have certain roles that will have certain access at this time. The next slide.
That's it.
Yep. Oh, that's the last piece. I'm sorry.
So with the rest of this information, we do know that you've been asking for some links, and I'm going to pop a link into the Info Hub page. Everything that we talked about today is available on the Info Hub. All of these slides are available through there as well, just on different documents. We just consolidated them. Today's slides, I'm also going to pop in a direct link. You must be using your DOE account to access it. If you're not using your DOE account, unfortunately, we're not able to provision access. We are just trying to provide a safe and secure sharing and model best practices. So the Info Hub is your best source of information on everything that the school needs. If you do have any questions, you can raise your hand and we'll gladly answer any and all questions you have. You can also post your questions in the chat, and between Mike and I, we will do our best to answer any and all questions we have for whatever time they allow us. First question in the chat for Mike. Will the system allow parents to download report cards from previous years?
Well, at this point, do you have the availability to do that within NICSA currently? NICSA does have an area that you can actually see all the grades for your students from year to year. So while the DOE systems do, these 3 DOE systems do not do that, you can already do that within NICSA. There's another question here for Zach. Is there a rollout happening on October 5th next week?
Yes, there are a bunch of updates happening beginning next week. Some of those updates and all of those are available on the Info Hub page, as well as been shared via email to principals, APs, superintendents, with the guidance from those individuals to share it with your school community. So for October 5th, in terms of grades, teachers will be able to share assignments with students and families. So students will be able to have access through TeachHub. Families will be able to see this information through NICSA, the New York City Schools account. And that's kind of the biggest functionality coming out. It will show family-facing and student-facing grades once an educator releases the grade. So it won't just be available. The teacher will actually have to select release the grade. And that was designed intentionally because as teachers, the amount of times that I started grading an assignment and then like 2 minutes later, I got called into a meeting and then I was unable to finish grading. The one student saw the work and all the others were freaking out. It was not worth it. So because of that, we provided that functionality to release the information to families.
Hi, so just off of that question, is there going to be like a specific button, the way that it says schedule, transportation, information, yes, student information, that parents can literally just press and see stuff? Or is it going to be like, I have to give a whole workshop about it?
It'll be tied directly into NICSA. You'll see a thing, I forget the exact name, but we will be providing resources and guidance for families and students in the 9 languages as quickly as we can, so that they can understand how to make these actions happen. So they can see it for students and staff, and that will be available on the Info Hub page that we mentioned earlier. It'll be linked there. It will be fully accessible. Thank you, Laura, for your support and providing us digital accessibility training. We always appreciate that. But yeah, we will provide resources. Great question.
There is a question about, I just lost it here a second, I'm sorry. This question about teacher, where is it? I just lost it a second, my apologies. Oh, it's about automatic translation and ability to attach flyers. Messaging, you can in messaging, we are working on automatic translation as a priority, but as far as attaching flyers, you can, in fact, in the messaging, put a link in so you can still access those flyers without having to attach them currently. But we both know that those are very important features that we're working on. We have a lot of questions about how to get access to report cards in Nixa. You should be able to access information about your student in Nixa. I thought that was also there as far as the ability to see multiple report cards, but we'll take a look into that if that's not the case. The next question, how can we add contact info to family members that are not in ATS or Nixa so that they can get messages? There's a way within your school to update information for your parents and students. That has to be done through an ATS. Your pupil personnel secretary can usually edit that information. There is a form that they have to fill out. It has to be done. There has to be certain process. If you're in Nixa people, parents who are in Nixa can actually update their information on their own, and that will also be used. So if you have a parent who needs who has Nixa access, they can do it directly, or there's a form within your school that they would have to fill out to update that information. That information cannot be easily updated because you do not want somebody updating it that's not accurate or that has been approved to have done. So there's a certain process that has to happen. The next question, how can a family access the grades and communication on TeachHub? Families will eventually be able to access that information directly in Nixa. Students will access it through the TeachHub. There's going to be a special tab that's created once that's done. That tab will allow them the ability to see all their grades and assignments for this term. It's not out yet, but it is being worked on and hopefully be out in the next couple of weeks. So once that's done, we are working on one-pagers and communications to send out to parents and students, itemizing the process and how to get in and what to do once you get there.
So just for transparency, we received a ton of requests for access to this file. The sharing is set correctly. Just a lot of people that are not signed in using their DOE account. So in the chat, I'm popping in a 30-second video, it's like a minute, not even, to show you how to cleanly authenticate or cleanly sign into your DOE account to be able to access these resources and many others. We do have a hand raised from Mary. Mary, if you want to, I don't know if we answered that, but if you want to come off mute, we'll answer your question.
Sure. No, I think you covered it. It was about the Nixa and accessing report cards, because what we were told is that once the school year ends, those cards disappear. So like other people have commented, you can see just the numerical grade, but the PDFs of the full progress reports with comments go away.
Can you send that via email to us at IET@schools, and we'll escalate it to the Nixa team and have them fix that? Because that shouldn't be the case. You should be able to see things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then just
right.
one other quick question. Do you need ATS access to use the digital attendance?
No. You just need to be the primary teacher in the course as of today to be able to access attendance. Co-teacher access is coming in November, and substitute teacher access coming in November as well.
Thank you.
No problem. There's another hand raised from Ilham. Ilham, if you want to come off mute, we'll lower your hand. And please tell me if I said your name correctly.
Yes. No, it's Ilham. Yes, you say it correctly. Hi, how are you? I've been using messaging since, the school started, and since it was on the board, to use it. But the only thing that I see that it's a little bit, confusing me, because on Pupil Pair, I use when I need to send a message to everybody, parents, students, and teachers, I just click all and I send it to everybody. Because when I send some messages to parents, I want the teachers to know what I sent. Because sometimes the parent, they communicate directly with the teacher asking what was sent to them and, asking for information. In messaging, I don't see that. If I want to send a message, I have to send it 3 times, the same message, one to parents, one to students, and one to staff. There is not a possibility not to send only one message to everybody at once.
So that's correct. As of this initial build, as we mentioned, that's one of the functionalities that we wanted to have built for fall 2023, but our timeline got thrown out the window. So that is something that we are working on providing to do the mass communication to all in many less clicks and many less messages being written.
Also, I have a question. Now, when I send messages to my parent, to the parent in my school, only the parent that they have Nixa accounts, they are the only one who receive these messages, or everybody that has an email in ATS? Because I have parents that they have email in ATS, but they don't have Nixa, they didn't receive my messages.
So it's pulled from Nixa as the primary source. From there, if a family does not have an email in the correct location in ATS or a correct cell phone number within ATS, a lot of cell phone numbers are listed as home phone, or a lot of numbers are not listed as cell phones. So just make sure that it's correct in ATS. And if it's for some reason not working as you think it should, open up a DIIT ticket and we'll route it to the messaging team and they'll be able to provide an explanation of what might have occurred.
And this is only regarding, SMS or also emails, because I've been sending emails.
Yeah, so for any time that you have a technology issue of something not working as it should, a DIIT ticket can be your first stop. I know we say email, do these crazy things, but a ticket's the best way to get the ball rolling so that the team that can address that issue can help to resolve it.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Next hand raise we have is from Luz. Luz, if you want to come off mute, we'll lower your hand. Luz Whetstone.
Sorry, I was having some difficulty.
No, you're good.
I have two questions. For Nixa, I know that it was mentioned, unless I heard wrong, that parents have the ability to change information. My parents have been telling me that they can't, like they can't change their email, their phone number, they can't update their address. So I've just been telling them that they have to contact the school and we have to put it in. So I don't know if that's something that is just on our end, but I was told that they're not allowed to update through Nixa because we have to verify the new address and stuff like that.
So address changes, yes, have to be verified by the school because that's the official location of the student's home, but they should be able to modify email address, phone numbers, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, they're not able to do any of that.
So if you can, shoot us an email to IET and we'll route it to the Nixa team. I'm actually just going to make it easy. Instead of emailing us, instead of having us be the go-between, in the chat, I'm going to provide the direct link for the team that supports the New York City Schools account. So I'm going to pop it in the chat right here, just so you have it. Right? Instead of us coming back and forth through us, it might be a little bit easier.
And my second part is for the attendance. Will it be time stamped? Because a lot of the parents will dispute that their child was late or absent, and when we call about lateness, they're like, well, what time did they sign them in as late?
So it's whatever ATS pulls. If ATS pulls that specific information, it will show that specific information. Otherwise, it'll just show the date and time that the attendance was last submitted.
Okay, because it just shows the date, it doesn't show the time.
Yeah, so in the DOE attendance app, it will show the last time that the attendance was updated within the system.
Oh, great, thank you.
No problem. I see a bunch of questions about receiving training and support. Mike, do you want to talk about the training and support plan we've provided? I feel like I went over it quickly and I apologize.
No, that's fine. Over the last month, we have provided over 65 different individual trainings on grades, attendance, and messaging. We have also set up a WeLearn course. I'll put that WeLearn course in the chat in a second, and the WeLearn link in the chat in a second. If you go to WeLearn, you can actually look at WeLearn, and you will actually be able to, we actually have a individual course, self-paced course on DOE grades, DOE attendance, and DOE messaging that you can go through at your own time. It will allow you, all you have to do is you go to the Discover tab, either at the top on the blue bar or on the left. It's a second icon down on the left, and you'll be able to go in the featured section. You will see that those 3 particular courses. You pick the one you want. You go into it, it says enroll in course. When you click on it, you can go to take that course and have access to that course as much as you need to. That way you can go through and walk through the features, see all the different possibilities, and walk through the actual process of doing any one of the 3 different messaging pieces, whether you want to go to staff, parents, or students. So thank you, Laura. I think you're showing something right now. Oh, there we go. Perfect. So if you go to the top or to the left, you hit Discover, and at the very top in Featured, you will see all 3 of them sitting there. So you just pick the one you want, and when you select on it, you will see a little button that says Enroll in Course, which is right there. And once you do that, you'll have access to it, and you can take it as you want. So now if you go back to you can either open it right from here, I'll go to enrolled courses and then go and start working right through it. Just like that. And there's a lot of different pieces that go through it, walks you through the whole system. You can go through each module you want. And once you've completed the whole piece, you can go back at any time and use it as a reference guide. Additionally, you will find that there are, in fact, reference guides on the Info Hub pages that walk you through different things and show you through, and are good reference manuals for you and for your school as well. Let's see what else we have here. The other trainings, also, we do occasionally have trainings, like we're going to be offering trainings to other people down the road for other things. This is the main page for DOE grades, attendance, and messaging. If you scroll down some, Laura, you'll find about halfway down after the welcome video, I think it is, you'll find some administrative checklists, manuals, matrices as far as who can have access to this system. And that's a good thing to look at. Those 3 matrices actually walk you through who has access to the system and what access they actually have. So let's say if you're somebody in your school needs to have access to certain things, it'll actually tell you what they have access to. Those roles in the blue across the top are the Galaxy roles that have that particular access and what that access is. And we have one of these for each of the 3 different process applications. So you can see who actually has access and what that should be. Go to the, if you want to go back a second, go to the messaging one, because that actually shows you that the parent coordinators do have access here, because you actually are one of the links on there. So that second column, or that third column here, parent coordinator, you do have access to send out messages through the system. If you do not have access to it, please fill out a DIIT ticket or talk to your school to make sure you're actually listed in Galaxy as a parent coordinator. So these are all based off your Galaxy roles. So look at that. Let's see what's next here. I don't know if about Parent University to answer that question. There's those questions about Parent University. What else here? We do have some raised hands. So Kimberly, please unmute yourself. I'll lower your hand.
Hi, I just had one quick question about NICSA yet again. So originally parents were able to add or remove people that are given access to their child to pick them up. So, but I was noticing a few times parents would sign into NICSA to add people and it wouldn't allow them to add it. And then I reached out to NICSA themselves and they go, oh no, it has to be done through ATS. And I'm like, I know that's not correct, because right after that, another parent, it had the same issue. They sent someone to pick up their child. That person was not listed in the information to be having access to the student. And the mom went into her NICSA account, boom, added the person, it popped up immediately. So I don't know what's going on, but this is one of the main reasons I really like using NICSA, is because it's instantaneous. You're not sitting there filling out the blue card. So why does it work sometimes and why does it not?
That's a very good question. We don't work with NICSA, but we put in the chat earlier, and I'll put in the chat again, the link to NICSA as far as asking them those kind of questions. But what I would do is also send us an email to IET. We'll try to send it up the chain to see if we can get some more information for you. But as a general rule, any issues with the actual systems themselves, we'll take up with the developers to see why that's having those issues.
Right, because I did email NICSA and they responded back to me that it has to be inputted. I'm like, well, that's going to put a whole lot of strain on the pupil accounting because it's only one person. So that means she has to get, documentation saying, okay, yeah, you can, this person can add. It's like, no, it's supposed to be in the hands of the parent. The parent is the person who's saying, okay, I want to give this person access to pick up my child. So it's a little, I don't know. I don't even want to email them again, because right after they sent me that, and I found that quite odd, someone else, like I just said, came in, wasn't on the blue card. The mom signed into her NICSA account, boom, added them instantaneously. That person appeared on this student's NICSA account and we were able to release the student. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, and once again, for anything that's not working as it should, a DIIT ticket's always a good way to go. I know it's really annoying to do. Like, I know it's not always the easiest process, but that's what gives us as DIIT permission to go into your accounts, to go into the different settings and investigate. Otherwise, it's kind of just like, I'm going to go into Mike's account because I feel like it, even though I have an email from him. Like, it's weird. So the ticket just kind of covers our butts. So that way we don't do anything that's unethical or immoral or wrong and access accounts.
It's like an
or abuse
official
our
request.
power.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, great, thanks.
So that's the transparency of why we ask for tickets. Plus it's used for tracking. So if we see like 100 tickets with the same issue, we're like, oh, this is probably a real issue and not just like user error. That's a lot of people having an issue. So it helps us to better support. So thank you. You guys are all awesome, or you are all awesome. I just messaged to Laura and she's on the same page. Laura, I'm sorry if I'm blowing up your spot. But we're gonna work with the NICSA team to see if they're able to join a future session, because as parent coordinators, you are very amazing and you should be their first point of contact and vice versa. So we wanna, perfect. I'm glad you're a few positive responses. So I'm glad we're not just being crazy. But that's the power of this team and this group of people. You got 194 people in this session right now on a Friday morning, when I'm sure you'd all rather be at the beach. Miss Jimenez is there. She's chilling out on the beach, having a great time.
That's it.
But I'm kind of envious that I'm not actually on that real beach.
Zach, we will definitely make it happen. If it's not a Friday, we'll make sure to pull them into our office hours. We will definitely get someone from NICSA, because we understand, and you know, this is also kind of what the magic of trying to create these homegrown systems and that they all talk and work simultaneous. I think that's always been the tricky part of doing things. But I will tell you, we have really great teams here and they are making it happen. So I know it's always been a little
Provide excellent customer service and share great offers. Please collect your.
Someone came off mute there on their customer service call. But like I said, folks, we'll figure it out, because I hear you. We know that NICSA is another system. It can get finicky. It's tricky, but we will definitely bring in those folks so that they can hear from you. This is why so many of our systems are actually getting better. It is because of this really great feedback. I mean, even from the time that grades, attendancing, and messaging has been released, we've seen a ton of updates just in these first few weeks of school. And it's because folks like you. So please keep the feedback coming. Let us know what you need, because we will absolutely make those connections.
We have another hand raised. Ms. Figueroa, please unmute yourself. We'll lower your hand.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I just wanted to ask a question in regards to the program that you guys have, because my school is working on a school app in which they will be launching this month in October. My question to you is this program, is it a choice that the principals have to accept it, or it's just we're gonna have to do it? I'm just asking whether it's mandatory or not.
This is definitely not a mandatory system. It is an additional tool that's available to you that we are supporting for free.
Oh, awesome.
Well, for your school, it's for free. So if you have another system that you're using that you're comfortable with and it's approved, by all means, please go ahead and keep using that.
Okay.
Our purpose is we're going to make this, it's going to be better and better to the point where you're going to want to use it. So we hope that you're using it. We encourage you to use it, and we're going to support you for using this. But do you have to use it? It's not a mandated program for you to use. It's just another tool that's available to your school if you choose to use it.
All right, great. Thank you so much.
You got it. Most of the questions we have in here now are about NICSA. So hopefully we get the NICSA in here to come in and answer a lot of these questions. This is not a system that Zach and I support directly. If you do have questions about NICSA, you can always ask us and send us an email at iet@schools.nyc.gov, and we'll try to get them to the appropriate people. Or you can email the NICSA link that we put in a few times so far. I'll just put in one more time just so you have it. And we'll try to get them in here to answer those questions. Let's see.
But yeah, scheduling messages is something that is being developed for future releases, because we know that not everyone wants to send a message. Like sometimes you're working at 9 o'clock at night. I know no one works at 9 o'clock at night, but sometimes you just need to do that. And you want to be able to schedule it to go out at 9 a.m. instead of your families reaching out to you at 9 p.m. So that's one of the updates that we're working on providing. At this time, the messaging is basic information. It's text-based. You can add a hyperlink, but attachments are also something that we are working on for future releases as well. So if you do have a hyperlink to a document or resource you want to share, Chevry got me off. They got me. If you do have a resource that you want to share, you can share it as a hyperlink. Just make it sure it's safe and secure, and it will be available. Grades will be visible for families and students beginning next week. We will provide guidance on the info hub page, as well as communicate it as best as we possibly can to your parent coordinator team, the SPOC team, and other locations. That way you can have the guidance on how to make that accessible. So we're hoping to have, it will be live for next week. And we are hoping to have all those resources ready to go when it's first launched. A lot of your students will know how to do it. They'll just go into Teach Hub, be like, oh, what's this new thing? And I'll click on it. A lot of parents may also be able to do that if they sign into Nixta regularly. But for those that may need additional support, thank you in advance for the support you may be able to provide for families.
We have a hand up. Helen, please unmute yourself. I'll lower your hand. Helen, we're not hearing you, Helen. I'm not sure why. Yeah, you might have to select a different microphone. Type your question into the chat. We'll try to answer it for you. Yeah. Let's see. Just please, if you have any more, oh, we have another hand up. Marilyn, please unmute yourself. We'll lower your hand. I think Marilyn unmuted herself. She left. Okay.
Okay. No, I'm here.
Oh, you're here? Okay, good. Please.
Okay. I just wanted to know if we're going to be able to schedule messages in advance in the message system, or do we have? Go ahead.
As Zach was saying earlier, that is currently on our roadmap for things we're looking to work on. It is not available currently. We understand how important that is for you, and we are looking into that to make sure that that's available to us at some point in the future.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. Okay.
You got it. There's a question about, is there a size limit to emails? The size limit to emails, there isn't one yet, but realize there are limits to the text messages. I think it's 160 characters, and there is one for robocalls. I think it's 2,500 characters. Just keep it down to a decent limit. You can also use within the emails to you can also put links to other areas, to other links, and so on. So there's not a size limit in emails as far as I'm thinking you're meaning the messaging system at this point, but there is for text and for robocalls. Let's see. There's some great suggestions in the chat about what to do with Nixta for different things. We really appreciate those. Thank you for all the different feature requests. I think that's some of these are really, really great for us to look at and to work on. Deleting drafts of the messaging system. There is a garbage can at each one of the different applications. You can actually delete them directly from there. You have to do them individually. There's no way to mass delete messages within the system or drafts within the system. You have to open up each one individually. The messaging in home languages, you have 9 languages, and right now you have to actually translate those messages. We are looking into having them auto-translate. If you do not translate a message into one of those 9 languages, it automatically will send out the English language version. Just so you're aware, if there's no other language, so that's the default language. So if you're not one of those 9 languages that are being translated, it'll automatically send you the English language. We are also looking to eventually having in robocalls the way for you to actually have your own voice in as opposed to the robotic or digital voice calling it out, but that's also something that we're working on for future releases. Are there any other questions? If you want to raise your hand, please do. A lot of these questions in the chat are really good. Your best bet is to make sure parents are in Nixta to guarantee that. Also, I'll mention this too, because we've had this a few times too. Staff will take the emails directly from your DOE email, but not all staff have their phone numbers or their home phone numbers or home text cell phone numbers in the system. So when you try to do a text message to all staff or try to do an email to them, they don't have those listed all the time, because not everybody, because we don't take that information and put that into things that you're accessing easily. So just so you're aware, if you have a staff, you're trying to send out to all staff, if they don't have that data in, they won't be receiving that information. Martha, you have your hand raised. Please unmute yourself. I'll lower your hand.
Yeah, thank you so much. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Beautiful. So I have been trying to use the system, the messaging system with emails, text messages, and voicemail. On my end, all my messages went out. It shows that it was sent, but I don't have access to the report. When I call college to please check if the messages in fact were sent, on her end, she could see that my messages were never delivered, neither by email, voice message, or text message. When I did the testing, I sent the text messages, email, I did it manually to myself, my principal, and another person from the school. Those messages were delivered. But when I tried to deliver the same messages, in the three ways to the families of my school, my messages were never sent. I don't have access to look at the report, but can you give me an idea what could be the problem?
Honestly, it could be one of a many, many, many different things. I know it's going to sound ridiculous, but a lot of people don't hit send or complete the process. We've had about 100 tickets of people being like, it's not working. And we're like, did you hit this button? They're like, oh, I didn't realize it had to do that. So I'm not saying anything about you, Martha. I'm just providing that clarity. At this time, parent coordinators don't have the ability to generate reports, but we have requested that functionality. But when you look at the number of failures, that failure rate should be consistent for anyone who has the school-wide level permission. Meaning your principal, APs, and parent coordinators, or SPOC, can all communicate to the entire school. If that's the case, you should be able to identify, like, if it's a different number of failures, that's an indicator that something may be up. And if that's the case, open up a DIIT ticket with all the information you possibly can provide to have the team investigate.
Thank you, Sad. On my end, I watched all the videos and I followed step by step. And on my end, it says that all my messages were sent. And before I send it, I tested and I put the email addresses by hand manually and cell phone numbers by hand also manually. But the problem is when it goes to the families. I'm sure I did every step by step. I watched the videos. It's an easy way I love it. But on my end, as I said, it shows that it was sent. But when in the report, it shows that none of the messages were sent. So I will do that. I will open a ticket just to make sure that doesn't, I want to communicate with the families. I love the message, being able to send a text message. I think it's easier. Okay, so I'll open a ticket. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And just be mindful of the language. If a student's or family's home language is set as Spanish and you don't provide a Spanish translation, when you hit send, it will not send to Spanish if there's nothing there in that language. So just something else to be pointing out. That is something that we are working on resolving for the future. But as we mentioned, 16 months short kind of screwed up a lot of our plans to have things ready on the first day. But yeah, thank you, Martha, for that feedback. It's definitely something we'll share with the development team.
Thank you.
Okay, we have another hand raised. Let's go to, I'm not sure if it's Margaret Kelly or Kelly Margaret, but please unmute yourself or lower your hand. Margaret Kelly. Looks like you're muted, but I don't hear you. If you want to write your question in the chat, or for some reason we can't hear you right now, I'm sorry. Let's go to the next person. Oh, she's trying to unmute. Okay, just be one more second here, see if it works. Speak a little, say something, maybe we can see if we can hear you. Okay, we'll come back to you in 1 second, Margaret. Let's go to Claudia. Please unmute yourself. I'll lower your hand. Claudia.
Hi, good day.
There we go. Hey.
Actually, it's not a question, but just something that might help everyone. I've been using the system, which I love, by the way. I can't wait to be able to attach files in like the flyers. So I've been doing the link, so that works fine. When we do send the emails and text messages, it comes out as DOE, NYC DOE. So a lot of the parents like overlook because they think it's coming from Central and not from our school. So just to let everyone know, make sure you put in like your school as the heading. And like when you're referring the message, like Dear Family, the way I do is Dear Family PS 1 or 2. So when they open it, they kind of see the school name, because right now it just appears as NYC DOE, NYC DOE.
Yeah, so as of now, it originally came up as potential spam, and we've been working with Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile, Boost, Sprint, all of the cell phone providers to have it show as NYC DOE and not as potential spam. And we're going to be working with them in the future to have more targeted kind of responses of saying like 10x 123. It's a made up school, but just something there as well. So those are some features that we are working on for the future as well. We have time for about 1 or 2 more hands. So we're going to go with the hands raised that are in the at the moment, just so that you have time to get done with what you need to be done with by 11:30. So the first question we have is from Vera. Vera, if you want to come off mute, we will lower your hand. Yeah, it would say like Marie Curie, Laura Argando School. It would say some custom thing that schools would be able to manage, but it's a very complex process with those vendors for us to provide. So we're trying to, and if it's something we can do, we definitely will.
Hi, I just want to ask, is there any report can be generated in the ATS that lists by class roster and lists the parents' email address from the ATS system? Like
I believe RBIR does that. That was my favorite report. It had like everything I ever needed.
But that's only can generate for the whole school by class number, like each class, for example, class number 1, 2, 3, and then the other class 2, 3, 4. So is there any way I can get that?
RBIR should include the official class of that student, and then you can filter from the whole school to find just the students in that specific official class.
Okay, I'll try again.
Yeah. And if not, shoot us an email at IET and we'll route it.
Okay.
We'll include the ATS team for their feedback as well.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. And the last hand raise we have is from Margaret. Margaret, if you want to come off mute.
Hi, can you hear me, Zach?
Crystal clear. I feel like you're right next to me.
Wow, I got it to work. I'm sorry. I know that we went over this before. As a parent coordinator, what we use the most is the messaging system. And I do understand that it's the Microsoft Translate. But did you say moving to the future, you are going to be able to just click on a home language?
That's the plan. As of right now, the translations need to be manually copied and pasted. We know that's a pain in the butt, but once again, that 16 months cutting us short kind of screwed with that plan. So we are working with various third-party auto translation tools in order to identify the most effective one for automated translation. Because as much as I love Google Translate and Microsoft Translate, they're not perfect. And if we're representing something out and sending it out to schools, we want it to be as perfect as it possibly can be in the way language makes sense. So that's something that we're working on identifying and working with different companies to identify the most effective way to have auto translation enabled for the future.
Okay, were you familiar with Opera, which many of the schools were using?
Yep.
Because that was so easy. It was a very expensive system, but all you clicked on was home language, especially schools that have 8 languages in a building. It really, I mean, I've used it, but it's a lot of work. But I look forward to pulling it from ATS with the home language.
We do too. Opera does have a lot of great functionalities and great resources. They've been building that tool for like 15 years, so they have a little bit more time compared to us. But with that being said, this means we're going to get it made better and easier and free for schools in the future.
Free, that's the main thing.
And that way, any of that money you're spending on these third-party tools, we're not giving it back per se, but you can reallocate it towards things that are truly important for your students and your staff. Like you want to be able to buy pencils and these supplies, you have the $10,000 from Opera and the $50 billion from Schedula. Now you got $10,000 to spend on your school. If anyone's got a $50 billion budget, I'm your man.
Thank you, Zach.
No problem. Thank you. With that, we want to say thank you all so much for joining us today and every single time. Don't hang up yet. Don't leave. But we're going to turn it over to Laura to do all the fun stuff. But thank you all so much. If you have any questions regarding NICSA, reach out to the NYXA team, the NYC schools account at schools.nyc.gov. For other questions, you could reach out to us at IET@schools, but we will see you every single time there's a Friday, as long as Laura doesn't remove us from the invite.
I don't know, Zach, it's getting dicey. No, thank you again, folks. I really appreciate having Zach and Mike here from IET. I know that, like I said, we started the school year with these 3 new applications. And as you know, yes, there are some hiccups. We own it. You know, this is what happens when, you know, you have to build something kind of on the fly. But as you hopefully are also seeing, we're really, you know, taking in that feedback and we're making this even better. So without further ado, Latiqua is going to pop a link into the chat for today's attendance. Look right on cue. You will see it is how PCs can make the most of grades, attendance, and messaging applications. If you've never filled this out before, it is just a Google form. Let me go ahead and share my screen so I can make this a little bit easier. But this is how we record your attendance and also how we are able to provide CTLE. So you'll fill out all this good stuff, all this, you know, personal information about yourself, your name, your email, you know, where you work, all that stuff. And then when you come down here, you're going to find the name of the session, and it is, hold on, how PCs can make the most of grades, attendance, and messaging applications. So it is this right here. You'll then select the length of today's session. It is 75 minutes. You'll hit submit. And then, like I said, you'll get a follow-up email. It'll come from our digital accessibility account. That's our team's email account. And it'll ask you to fill out some survey questions. If you need CTLE, it'll then bring you to another screen. But again, that is a separate email. And the way to get that email is by filling out our attendance. The other thing I was hearing, and it makes me just think that maybe we've got to provide some additional support in PD, because I was seeing a lot in the chat about, you know, sometimes the email through the messaging app can get lost, particularly if you're not kind of designating that this is from the school level. You know, parents can kind of overlook it and go, oh, this is another DOE thing. Makes me think that, you know, as schools are communicating with families, part of effective communication is thinking about kind of a comms plan, which sounds very business-like. But you have to remember that as schools, we kind of do function to some degree as a business. We are trying to disseminate information, and we do need to be strategic about it. You can't send 17 messages in one day, right? Like that would actually way overload your families. That would also mean that folks would not read them. So being strategic about messaging is actually, I think, kind of one of those skills we're going to level up. You know our motto here. We're always looking to level up. And I hear this kind of happening. And so I'm going to pull together folks from our respective teams and kind of think this piece through. Because I think now that we have these systems, especially these systems that are talking to each other, that really have these capabilities, now we have to kind of make sure we're using them the right way, right? Because if we misuse a tool, if we don't use it enough, if we use it too much, it can actually kind of have, you know, the opposite effect. So we want to make sure that we're being really strategic about how we communicate with families, how we are messaging them, because if we bombard, if it's too much, then guess what? None of your information gets to them. So TBD, all right? We will figure this out, and it'll probably be a future, like I said, a future session, because I'm hearing that need. With any further ado, if you have filled out this form, you are set to go. I want to thank you all so much for showing up on Friday. We definitely had over 200 folks popping in and out of today's Zoom room. I'm so excited to see so many returning faces, but also so many new faces. So I hope that this first session has kind of brought you into our community. We started as the video we showed earlier today, we started this in September of 2020. It came out of just kind of an ask, a very basic ask of like, hey, us PCs, we need this help. We need the support. We're on the front line. Parents are always asking about technology, and many of us don't know what to do. We're not necessarily the most adept at it. And guess what? We ran with it. And 2 years later, look at where we are. So I always get all like the warm and fuzzies from being with this community, because you all are just so supportive. You're supportive of each other. You're eager to learn. And that's what makes this special. I do a lot of PD throughout the school year. and don't tell anybody, but like, this is my favorite one. The teachers are great. I always have a special spot in my heart for the teachers, but like the PCs show the love. So, but again, today's session is how PCs can make the most of grades attendance and messaging. Can't talk, it's Friday. Once you fill this out, like I said, you're welcome to drop off today's call. I would have some music for you, but I'm not even going to do it to myself because like I was jamming out. Thank God I had my camera off. I was jamming out to my music. And then Lisa's like, yeah, we hear nothing. I'm like, okay, all right, well, it was real special, folks. So I'm not gonna do that to myself again, set myself up for failure. We will work on my audio issues. I'm gonna figure out the DJ thing. That's how I'm gonna level up. But thank you all so much for showing up. We really appreciate it. Remember, next session is on October 21st. This is, we will have them regularly once a month. Let me actually go back. Oh, here we go. And they will be relatively spaced out once a month. So you'll see the next one's October 21st. It won't always be the very last Friday of the month because that actually, there's several Fridays where we have holidays. So the next one is on October 21st. We'll always send messaging out in our Microsoft PC community. So I think many of you that are new here got the invite because we utilize the PC community. That is absolutely the place to continue to keep the conversation going. If you need something, if you want help with something, that's actually the place to go in between these PD sessions. So please utilize that community that is for us to kind of help each other and share information. But like I said, I hope to see all of you on October 21st. Forward that invite out. I saw a few of you already sharing it. So continue to pass it along. And as you see, we do build this for our parent coordinators, but anyone is welcome. That's the beauty of doing a PD with the inclusion team. We don't say no to anybody. So feel free, send this out to a school secretary, send this out to, if there's a teacher, if they're free during this time. We know that it's tricky when you support students and you're in classroom. But again, this is information for anybody at the school level. So we really do appreciate you coming by and learning and growing with us. And with that, folks, I'm going to say have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy the beautiful fall weather, and I will see you on October 21st.